Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Hello, GM, good morning. Thank you all for joining us today. If you don't know, my name is Corval. That's what I go by online. And I want to thank you all for joining us here at the Sonic Summit. I want to thank Michael Kong for that excellent introduction. I don't know where he went. He can't wander too far because I got a couple more questions for him, and I'm sure you all do too. Like, what's the plan, and are we on track, right? We're going to get to the bottom of it, though, so don't worry. We're going to get to the bottom of it starting now with our next panel, which will be led by Auad, the business development lead for Hedgehog Protocol, which I got to read this off because it's a doozy. Protocol is building a modular synthetic block space that allows them to create derivative markets of any on-chain expense on top of it. What does this mean for Sonic? We'll get into it. Now, Hi's also going to discuss Sonic's future with Michael Kong and Sam Harcourt, who's the head for BD for Sonic Labs. And it says here he's also our head homeboy. I don't know about that, but we've got two BDs and a CEO. So please, folks, let's see, did I do the full 2 minutes? I don't know. We got to welcome on the stage. Let's welcome Hi, Michael, and Sam to the stage, everyone. Please, round of applause. Thank you.
Hello again. Yeah, I think you said in the middle.
Well, that's the wrong hand, but thank you. Hey, Sam, nice to see you in person. Get up there, come on, kill it.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. Ooh, the room is full here. I like to see this. But let's get right into the questions so we're not late here. Thank you guys so much for joining this panel. So recently, Sonic rebranded from Phantom, right? Everybody knows that, of course. But I want to know a little bit from you guys. What did this transition change beyond the name, and what lessons from the past are now shaping the new direction that Sonic is taking?
So you just like flip it on and
Well,
off.
thank you very much for moderating this panel, first of all, and for your question.
Mic gets flipped off.
Look, with the rebrand,
Sorry.
it came down to like a number of things. So, one is that sorry, is my audio working? Or?
No, I think it was... yeah, we're good now, I think.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that, everyone. I think it came down to a number of things. So, first of all, Sonic used to be known as Phantom, as you guys are aware, back in early 2018 when we did the ICO, and it was very popular back then. And so we wanted a bit of a refresh for the branding as well. The other thing is that, when I was talking to the technical team about the technical improvements, they did say that it was possible to do a lot of technical improvements with the existing chain, but that it would be a bit easier and a lot more effective to launch a new chain, because it's kind of like, upgrading a plane that's already flying, doing that while everything is live, versus just like launching a new plane on the ground that's a lot better. In terms of like the rebrand, there were honestly like a number of difficulties you guys are already aware of. So we had issues, with miscommunication with exchanges. We had issues where people were confusing us for another project. That was unfortunate. There were issues where people weren't able to like search for the token, etc. And I think, the lesson there is, I think the biggest issue for us though is that, I talked about instant dopamine in my presentation, and people were expecting to be able to do stuff right away when we launched the new network. And, we had told people repeatedly, though, that when the network was live, that you would have to wait a few weeks before dApps will be able to deploy, because they need to have, the infrastructure there available for people to deploy. But I learned, like, afterwards, is that when we announced that the network was live and people could bridge, people bridged and were excited, and then there was nothing to do, right? They were just like, well, what do I do now? Okay, it's great, I bridged my assets, that's fine. And I think, unfortunately for us in the short term, a lot of hype was kind of like downplayed a bit. Whereas I think in retrospect, what I would have done in terms of like the new relaunch was to do kind of like two launches. Like first a private launch just to get dApps on board, and then the second launch to the public, where as soon as people could bridge over, they would be able to start using apps right away and start doing all the great stuff that you can do on Sonic right now. But I think all those issues that I talked about in terms of the brand confusion, issues with exchanges and how we would have done the launch, I think they're all like kind of like short-term issues, and I think they've all been like largely overcome. So I don't think in the long term it's really like fatal or hurts us like dramatically in any way. But I definitely think in the short term I would have made a few different decisions. But it's too late now, and as I just mentioned, I don't think in the long term it's going to be that much of an issue.
Sure. I think when we first realized that we had to launch Sonic as a new network, it came with the realization that we were launching one of the best tech stacks out there today. The network can handle more than 100 to 200 million transactions a day, depending on the types of transactions that are being executed. And for us, we realized that this was going to be much, much bigger, and we can execute a vision much grander than I'd say a lot of other networks have today. And I think this is really, really important because in the space we have L2s launching every single day. We have new L1s launching every day. And what we don't have launching every single day are great applications being pushed to the forefront of our industry. And I think that's why everyone is maybe becoming a little bit tired of building in this space because we just see these sort of like facades of networks saying these really big numbers, 10K TPS and not being able to execute it. And once we realized it was possible to launch Sonic and have this type of scalability that we're already seeing, and we saw some of those numbers on Mike's presentation, we realized it was the right decision. So we said, okay, this is going to be a short-term pain because migrating a network, as all of our team know, is much, much harder than deploying a new network, and a lot of our applications went through a similar process. But in the long term, even in the medium to long term, we realized that it's definitely worth it. And so for us on the BD side, it's really, really great for us because when we're talking with these applications, we know that we have the technology to back it up, and there's nothing worse than trying to sell a product that you think isn't the best in the class. So for us, we're just so excited that we have this opportunity to sell the best technology in the space. And I think right now we're starting to see that take effect. We have more than 150 builders on Sonic. Kraken finally listed S token. There's probably one of the slower sexes that did list Sonic. But now we're through the really tough part of the migration. And 2025 is going to be a really fun year for us.
I think your answer ties like right into my next question. Like in the landscape that we see right now, like full of rollups, alt VMs, L2s, what do you think that makes Sonic's like a compelling choice for developers and users as well?
As I talked about in my presentation, the objective of the organization is really just answering this like one question, and that's all it is, which is, why would developers and users choose Sonic over another network? And so I think we have, to answer that question, we have a number of like really great features that enable that to happen. As I mentioned, for the mainnet, people can see real live data of how scalable the network is. That definitely was not possible with the old Sonic, the old Phantom Opera technology, and it's definitely not possible on other chains that are live today. I mean, you can see in the pending transactions that for other networks, there's always like a degree of pending transactions, which always means that your confirmation times are going to be slower, which means that you don't have a great user experience. But for us, there's no pending transactions since the beginning of the chain, which means that all of like the load on the network, whether it's high or low at any point in time, has no impact on the user experience. And I think that's very fundamental when sometimes people overlook that when it comes to scalability, that it's not about like, these numbers about like TPS or even like confirmation times, as I mentioned. It's just about the user experience, what the user feels in the end. And on the business development side or on the dev feature side, we're the only chain that has fee monetization where people can get 90% of their transaction fees. We're going to have gas subsidies and account abstraction and dynamic fees. And that just gives more power to the developers to be able to basically grow their business and make money. And these are features that are not available on other networks. And also, for our network, we have a great grants program, a great airdrop program, GEMS business grant program. And so, all of those combined makes it very, very enticing for developers to want to launch on our network. And it makes it enticing for users to use the network because it's a very fast and cheap experience, and they're able to, make money and have fun playing games or using DeFi applications, etc.
Yeah, those are great points. And one thing I love about this event already is when I was at ETH Denver earlier this year, and I was walking around the conference, it was L2 booth, roll up, and there were just not many builders to go talk to. And me working as working within an L1, our main consumer, our main customer are applications and builders. And so it got quite boring. I'm walking around and I can't see any builders. It's when you find one, they get attacked by probably like 20 L2s. Please come launch on my network. And this is a great space already because it's filled with people who are leading our industry, and they're focusing on the user side, and that's really fun. So what matters for us is helping these builders scale their products to their users. What they don't want to be doing is having to roll up into their own network and have to focus on running their own infrastructure. Now, an L1 it's supposed to be a very boring business. We deal with centralized exchanges, we deal with this consensus and middleware technology, and we make sure that your transactions are executed within seconds. But realistically, we want to be behind the scenes and pushing these applications forward. They are the ones who the users are interacting with. You don't go to an L1 or an L2 just to swap tokens to yourself. You go there to interact with applications. And so I love our approach because it means that the application can focus on building out their product, and we handle all the boring things. We also handle all of the infrastructure costs. We have USDC coming. To be very open with you, it's not like an easy or low fee thing to do. It's quite an expensive integration. And that goes for most of our products that are available to builders. So whether it's partners with Alchemy, whether it's our partners with Pith or Chainlink or any of these tools that builders need to leverage into. When you try to roll up into your own L2 or your own L1 or even however you want to go segregate away from the sort of community and network that you started in, it costs a lot of money. And that money could have been spent on user acquisition, could have been spent on improving your UI, UX, and instead we're just like continually paying these infrastructure partners when you could be putting that to expansion. So I think our approach makes a lot of sense. I think Solana has actually proven that model is working much, much faster and much, it expands much quicker because people are focusing on the products and not the behind the scenes infrastructure. And that is what we're really excited to bring to the table. And so that, we're very excited with our approach. I think I'll talk about VM a lot tomorrow. So I won't talk too much about it today, but it allows us to give these products where you get all of the upside of running your own L2 or your own roll-up. You get 90% of the fees that are generated, but none of the costs of having to maintain that infrastructure, and that's why it's so important. And so I'm really excited to see 2025 build all of our applications up. I think when you build on Sonic, you now get a competitive edge compared to any other network. And our job on the BD side is to make sure that when you look at, I was just talking about this with some of the builders here today. When you look at the top CMC on CoinMarketCap, you see the top 100 projects, and they're still filled with infrastructure-based projects. If we're going to move forward as an industry, we need to put our applications first. We need to value applications more, and we need to push them up that rank. So we really want to see more Sonic native applications in the top 100 CMC on CoinMarketCap. And we want to see that value accrue to our Sonic-based projects. And with that is our vision. I think we can give all of the right tools to our builders. So I think you actually do get a massive advantage building on Sonic rather than trying to build up your own liquidity, build up your own infrastructure, and worry about all that boring stuff. Leave that to us. And you can be a part of a network that already has $1 billion in TVL, one of the fastest rises in the industry, as well as building alongside other builders. That's actually another important point that I'll just touch on as well. When you roll up into your own, roll up or L2, you move away from the pack. You're moving away from other builders you could have been collaborating with. And one thing I love about Sonic is the fact that you have guys like Silo working with DEXs. You have DEXs working with games. You have NFT projects working with DEXs. It's this sort of amazing community that builds on top of each other and builds each other up. If you all roll up into your own network, it's much, much harder to collaborate, and I think that's a sad thing for the industry. So I really do like our approach.
Talking a little bit as a project that is building on Sonic, right, Hedgehog, we received like some grants and stuff from other chains, but we are really happy to make the decision to build on Sonic. The amount of support that we're getting from the team, like you said, it's a whole community. The amount of support that we're getting, we are sure we would not get like anywhere else. At the end of the day, some of these grants from other chains it's just money. You don't get any other support from them. So as a protocol that is building on Sonic, who made the decision to go into Sonic, we're really, really happy with the decision. Not only that, we also started building something for Sonic as well. We're building like a market for the theme monetization, where the builders are gonna be able to get pretty much that money up front, like put that up on the market so they can bid on it. And they can get the monetization like right up front. So that was something that we started building after we decided to go on Sonic. Talking with the Sonic team, we saw that it was something that could aggregate a lot more for the Sonic ecosystem as well. So we were really, really happy to be here and to be building with you guys. So if you had to summarize the Sonic's long-term vision in one sentence, especially for someone outside of Web3, what would it be? That's a hard question.
One sentence would be
One sentence.
more apps, less layers. More applications, less networks, more products that we can actually interact with and enjoy, and less infrastructure-based projects. Yeah.
Give developers and users what they want because they're our customers. That's it, really.
That is pretty cool. So what kind of culture or identity you guys want Sonic to be known for? I know that Sonic is a lot of people are knowing Sonic right now as the place for DeFi, but not just as a tech platform, but as a builder community. Like, what do you want Sonic to be known for?
I want it to be known for as just this platform that is just very easy to use. Whether you're a developer or user, you can just go on there and you can just start, building as a developer, getting users as quickly as possible, and just making money. Really, that every testimonial, such as from yourself or from other protocols, is really helpful because the more that they can go out there and tell people about their experience on Sonic, about this feature was great, that feature was great, combined, I got my app launched very fast. The community was great because I was able to integrate with all these different protocols on the network, which I really love the collaboration that's coming as well because it's all very organic and it doesn't really involve us. It's just the community getting together and helping one another and for mutual benefit. That's the sort of network I want Sonic to be known as, and for the users out there, likewise, I want Sonic to be known as a network that is just incredibly easy to use and to make money off of. And to have fun on, that people can just go on there and everything just works and it has all the applications that you want to interact with already there.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Mike just said, but I'd probably highlight the making money side of things. This is a business, and I believe everyone is here to improve their business and
it's
increase
crypto
their
as well,
reach.
right? Everyone wants to make money in crypto.
100%.
Oh, spade is spade. It's just about making money.
Yeah, we are very, with the assistant here as well, I'll just highlight one thing on our BD approach. We're very upfront. We try to just cut out all of this noise when you're talking with an application or a partner, and you just try to really cut to what matters. And if your application isn't able to make money, then it just won't be around long term. That's just a fact. So what we want to focus on is Sonic is the place to go where your business will grow and you can make more money than any other network. And then from the user point of view, Sonic is a place of a community and a place where you can explore cool applications and as well as have different opportunities, whether it is really good trading or whether it's playing games. Sonic is the place to sort of have a really seamless environment. Low TTF means that we can execute on that. But for our developers, who are our main focus as an L1, it's all about your underlying revenue.
And I think we're still a little early, but you guys are doing a really good job at that. From what I've been hearing, a lot from Sonic, you guys are going in the right path. So fast forward to 2026, next year, what's the headline you'd want to read about Sonic?
That all the developers are coming to Sonic, and the article just lists all the reasons why. It could include some of the reasons that I mentioned. It could include new ones. Also want to see more centralized exchanges integrate with Sonic. So not just in terms of like the S token itself, obviously that, but also in terms of stablecoin, like with native USDC, as I mentioned, and also with ecosystem tokens as well. Because trading platforms are very important to get more exposure. It helps you get more users. And so, we work, for example, like closely with Binance to already have ecosystems launch a few tokens on Binance Alpha, and I'm sure there's many, many more coming down the line as well. And that's just the beginning, because the more exposure we get for our developers and ecosystem projects on the network to exchanges, the more users that just are going to come to Sonic, which is exactly what we want, and the more money that developers are going to make as well.
Those are all really good things to see. I'd say another headline would just be something like CoinMarketCap. It has more than 30 Sonic applications listed on the top 100. I think that would be a really cool stat to see. Even if they're above Sonic, no hard feelings. We just want to see applications grow and succeed. So that would be a really cool title.
That's cool. Our time is kind of running up here, guys, so I want to thank you, Sam and Michael, for having this talk with us. If you guys have any questions, we don't have time to answer them right now, but we're going to be around the event, so you guys can feel free to approach us so we can talk about it. And also a quick note from Hedgehog, we're doing a QR code hunt throughout the event. So go around the venue and look up for those QR codes so you guys can have a little surprise. Do you guys have any last things to say here before we end this panel?
No, just thanks for coming, everyone. And, as I mentioned, if you need a feature or you need some help on something, just message me on the team. We're here to help you grow.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. If you have any questions, I'll be around. We're here to support you all. If you have any questions about the airdrop or building on Sonic or what VM is, I'll be talking more about the VM side tomorrow, but any questions at all, please do approach. And try to meet one another, because you'll be surprised at what you can build when you're building along someone else in the ecosystem.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.